So I've gotten a lot of questions about, exactly how competitive should you be when you're training? We all know that jiu-jitsu is a competitive sport / martial art, but a lot of people want to know, like, where's the line on that? When is it too much? When are you being too competitive? And so I wanted to answer this question because it came to me when I was we were riding back from Nashville this past weekend. I was down there training with my buddy John Salter, who's getting ready for the ADCC in Finland. And so we were doing some hard training. I mean, we were training about as hard as you can possibly train with someone in a training environment. We were getting after it. I mean, even my girlfriend, who was videotaping the rolling and everything else, she was like, God, you guys were getting after it. And you can see I got a little black eye from it, It was some great rolling, some great training. But there was a beautiful thing about it because the whole time we're rolling, we were both concerned with the well-being of the other. An example of that is, first off, when we first started, we were both kind of cold. And it's kind of hard to get warmed up as you get older in jiu-jitsu. Not as in older as in like age, but as you get like older in the sport, you get more experience. It's just hard to get warmed up because you become so efficient at everything. And a lot of times you're in pretty good shape. It's like you have to get moving to get warmed up. And so we started flow rolling. And I was doing this mutually to help us both get warmed up. So we're both, when we're flow rolling, he'll let me get a pass on him, and then I'll secure my side control position, and then I'll loosen up. And then he'll come out and he'll do something, and then at some point he'll loosen up, and then I'll do something. And we just went back and forth for about 5-6 minutes. And then we started to roll. And when we started to roll, we started off at a mid pace and we kicked it up until we were going full tilt, going after each other 100%. Now, during these 100% times where, literally I'm going as hard as I would in a tournament, like both of us are beating the living crap out of each other. But there were several times where I would headbutt him on accident, where I'm coming in for a takedown and bam, hit him right in the nose with my head. And, I would say, oh, dude, you okay? He's like, I'm good. And meanwhile, we're still going. We don't stop. It's more of boom, we hit and I'm locked up. You good, man? I'm good. That kind of thing. There was one point where I was going for a sweep and I was coming up and he was scrambling to get away from me. And he friggin' kicked me right in the face trying to scramble. And as I'm still coming in and he's still scrambling away, he's like, dude, you okay? I'm like, I'm good. Still going after each other. So the whole time we were focused on one another's safety. Towards the end of that day, my neck, I got a bunch of, not my neck, most of my upper back, some muscles got strained when I was coming up for a takedown. And so the next day I had planned originally not to roll, but again, you get in there, I feel warm and started to feel pretty good. I was like, I'm gonna roll. So when we started to roll, we were still going 100%. The only thing is he knew that my neck was a little tweaked. And so, therefore, he was like, I'm not going to hang on your neck today. And I did my best to put myself in positions where I didn't get hung up on. Now, we still went hard, but at no point did he just really wrench on my neck, right? He was still going hard. We were still pushing each other to improve, but we weren't going past the point where we're going to injure the other person. Now, I give you that because that's kind of 3 different examples. That's 1, flow rolling. 2, as hard as you can possibly roll, right? And then we have sort of mid-level where we're both rolling hard, but again, we're conscious of a possible injury on one another, okay? And I say that because that's 3 different spectrums of rolling, but meanwhile, the thing that you see with all of those is we're focused on each other, right, as a whole, right? We're both worried about the whole unit, not just one or the other, but both of us, okay? And then this is in contrast to the way that I used to roll when I was younger, which is I would basically always try to win, right? It didn't matter how I won. I was just always trying to win. And it came from a really negative place where I was afraid to lose. I didn't want to lose. Losing made me feel bad. And so therefore, I would come with a lot of anger and emotion when I rolled, even in the gym. And so for you guys that are wondering sort of when is it too much, when is it too little, that kind of thing as far as competition goes. Again, it's always going to depend on your goals, where are you going with this thing. But the big thing that I would say to you is it's always going to come from you. And as far as when you've crossed that line, as far as competition, that comes from you, right? Where did it come from in you? Where did that competitive streak, is it to benefit both you and him? You and her, right? Is it both to benefit the whole, both of you guys together as training partners, to push one another up, to build one another up on top of the other? Or is it simply so that you can stand over top of that person so you can feel good when you go home because you did really well at jiu-jitsu today, you beat someone? Is that what it is? Because if it's that, then you were like I was years ago, where the only thing that mattered to me was to win. And then that's when that competition, that ego that you have has gone too far. And so what I would say to you is when you're training, again, I've said this before, always keep your training partner's health and safety in mind. It's super important. But as far as competition goes, you can always push it. You can go as hard as you can possibly go, as long as you keep that health and safety in mind, and as long as it comes from a good place in you. When I was training with John this weekend, I was pushing it. I was trying to get sweeps. I was trying to get takedowns. I was trying to push him. I was trying to go, but it was to make him better as well as to challenge myself. It was a beautiful thing, right? As the way it should be every training session. It should not be a negative thing. And so when you feel those negative feelings creep up in you, if that's what you feel, that's when you've crossed the line. So guys, just sharing that thought with you because I got a couple questions. Hope that helps. I'll talk to you guys next time.